I think I was next. Okay. Again, Dirk Biesinger. My debut book, in A Discovery of Dragons. I'm exploring kind of the idea, deviating from your typical fantasy book that has dragons, where dragons are a known, or dragons are around, and somebody discovers that, yeah, they can ride a dragon, or they can find a dragon and ride a dragon, or something to that effect. Uh, what I'm exploring in this book is what actually happens if a society recognizes that there are dragons. How do you start all that? How does it look with the first to actually find dragons, recognize dragons, and come into a relationship with a dragon of some sort? How do you actually develop all that? Does that start? Uh, how is the beginning? So
Yeah.
that is what I'm doing. That is what I'm doing in the first book, in Discovery of Dragons, as one of the main themes. And then in the second book, that is centered around discovering how the actual magic that comes with the dragons, or with this whole idea, how does that whole magic work? So again, there is nobody around who actually knows it, so they have to discover or rediscover it from times past where it actually all the documentation has been wiped out. So they need to actually come to terms with it, what it actually means, and they're struggling with understanding what magic means and how it works and what it can do and how the whole system works. So it's really, you're following along how they are discovering the magic system that is there. They're not getting introduced to it. They have to discover it and they have to explore it. So that is one of the main story arcs in the second book.
I love what you just said. That very last line, like they have to discover it, they have to explore it. And I feel like now that I'm reflecting on the books that I've read, I'm like, that makes sense that you say you're doing something different because I'm trying to think
It's
of,
always there. It's
yeah,
always there.
it's just
It's
all,
always there, and they're getting introduced. You have a teacher who introduces you to it. That's
mm-hmm.
the normal setting. So, okay, but where is it coming from?
Yeah.
Discovery of
Ooh.
Dragons, I republished in March, and prequel, Savi of Shemaine, is coming out on the 12th.
Of
Right
this
now,
month?
both of them, sorry,
Of this month?
of this month, yeah,
Oh,
in
that's
10 days,
exciting. That's
for
exciting.
9 days now. Um, right now, they are on Amazon. I don't have enough sales that I have yet set up distribution through other channels.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on that. And at the moment, I'm extremely focused on my second book. So the Xavier of Shemaine is a prequel in the saga, and I'm working on my second book. And I'm actually just running through the revisions. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
640 pages right now. So apparently I'm writing long.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I feel like it's better to write too much and cut down than not write enough.
Actually, I'm typically adding about 10% to my first drafts. So
True.
I'm writing short at the beginning and then I'm adding.
Yes, yeah. I think I need to learn how to do that more. When I was growing up, like in high school, my first drafts of like my essays were like my only draft, like get it done, one shot it. But I know that just doesn't work for publishing a book. And I just focus so much on my first draft, so I need to take a note from your playbook and definitely work my way up. Your cover art was so beautiful, by the way. I loved that.
The wife is painting them.
Your wife? Wow.
Yes,
Wow, that was
it's
beautiful. Tell her I love them.
yeah, they're great. Yes, homemade.
Yes, that's the best part. That's what I love about the indie publishing industry. It's like it just, to me, it's so much more meaningful, like that you had your wife do that. And like, you will always look at that, and that'll always be like a piece of you, and a piece of her. So how beautiful.
I'm taking a lot of inspiration from real world and actually
Mm-hmm.
reusing them or changing them into the book. So there is a lot in there. Um, I probably would like to go in a holistic
Mm.
view here. So materials that I'm using to actually where these to build the world where these books are based on is actually materials that we collected in the family over about 20 years to create a video game.
Oh, wow.
And and that video game was, or one of the core ideas of that video game was actually to be educational. And
Mm-hmm.
not in a traditional sense, more in a way of actually demonstrating how could be done differently and demonstrating how by doing something differently, it creates a different outcome, a different kind of a different ripple effect. So basically, looking at staying in the US, 80% of the population are not happy with the job they're having. They're
Mm-hmm.
simply doing the job because they have to pay bills.
Yeah, for sure.
But basically, they are spending the majority of their lifetime of time which can't be replaced. If it's gone, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, by being miserable to doing something that they don't want to do.
Yeah.
So, how could that be done differently? Take that from the US and actually look at the global scale. How much of the human potential, how much of the potential what humanity could do is untapped, is wasted with stuff that is not necessary, with just putting up barriers. You can't do something because you don't have the education. I don't trust that you know something because you think you know it, because you don't have some paper for something like that. You're not an author because you're not traditionally published, as a really home-hitting example here.
Mm-hmm.
Just with these kinds of barriers that are commonly put up, how much are we holding ourselves back as a race on a global scale? And looking at that, how could that look differently? How would a world look differently if we would not be doing that? So that is what I'm exploring in my books. How could that look? How could that be? How could that society be? What could that society achieve?
Well, I think I certainly need to read more Utopia books, specifically your Utopia books. So, one more time, can you tell us your name, your books, and where to find you at, or where to find your books?
Okay, so I'm Dirk Biesinger. I'm writing a fantasy sci-fi mix, Utopian. My books are the first book in the series is A Discovery of Dragons. It's the Boreas Stripes saga. I have a prequel coming out in a couple days, Xavier of Shanain. It's actually introducing one of the main characters. I wanted to write a quick prequel. It's 340 pages. And I'm working on the second book of the saga. I have at the moment a sticky note on there because the title is not official yet. So there's the sticky note. Um, the title is not revealed yet. That book is going to be coming out September 19th. Currently, the books can be found on Amazon. I am focusing on getting this book ready for the editor, and then I'm going to be going white. I have my own ISBN, so I'm going to be able to go white there, but I have not set it up yet. I have not spent that time. On social, easiest is to go to my website at dirkbiesinger.com. I am not on Meta websites out of ethical reasons. You can find me on Blue Sky and Pinterest and on YouTube.
Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to reading your books. For our next person, I'm not sure who is next. I can't remember.
I can do it.
Hello.
Hi.
Well, first off, can you let us know again your name, your book, and where to find it at?
Okay, so I'm Stuart Tudor. I have currently currently four novellas and short stories out in the world. You can find them basically everywhere, including Amazon, Barnes and Noble, etc. Mostly in Kindle. They So I don't know if you want to talk, if you like me to run through all four of them, as they are relatively short.
Yeah, you can let us
Okay.
know. Are they all in the same series or standalones?
They're all in the same collection. They can be read standalone,
Oh, cool.
although all of them do rhyme thematically with each other.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Well, yeah, just let us know, I guess, about where to start, where you would suggest
Okay.
to start in your world, and just let us know about like your main characters, what their journey is, and things like that.
All right. Only Mice, a short story about a puppet that becomes aware just before a performance is about to start,
Mm.
and unfortunately they cannot. Well, Billy, cannot talk or move on his own. So he has to try and convince his puppeteer that he is in fact alive, and it's a it's a very creepy existentialist exploration of what it means to be alive, and when you can't speak or move on your own. The and the second one is Where Dreams Are Lost, which is set during the 2008 financial crisis. A group of friends, almost all of them down in luck, decide to distract themselves by going to an abandoned mall in Detroit to just explore it, maybe try and get notes on YouTube or something. And they find themselves in their like their own little personal hells, and they all try to escape from the mall that may not want them to leave. Third is Black Masquerade, historical gothic set in 1929 UK London. A group of rich friends go to a masquerade party to celebrate the protagonist's engagement to her fiance, and there is a shadow that's about to do its thing that definitely has nothing to do with upcoming historical events. The fourth and final one so far is Our Broken World, which is a dark fantasy apocalypse drama set in a dying world that's being afflicted by something called the Breaking, which is this weird surrealist event where things stop making sense, and those afflicted by it start taking on very bizarre, horrific proportions. And that's it so far in terms of like published stuff. I've got way too many things that I need to actually finish and to get out there, and I've got way too many projects that I would like to do. Like once I'm done with exams for this year, I want to do, among other things, do more poems. Like I've got a whole series of poems I want to do. Roughly inspired by Metamorphosis,
Ooh, I
which
love
detail.
that. Those all seem very different. Can you tell me how they're all connected? So, are they within the same universe?
Okay, so Eight Nightmares, they're not the same universe, but they do rhyme
Oh,
with each other
okay.
thematically. So they also might be entry points to other universes. So
Mm-hmm.
like my upcoming one, A Farewell to Humanity, which is a dystopian sci-fi drama set in a dying world afflicted by AI overlords. That one is part of the much larger Age of Robotics universe, which is a sci-fi a universe dealing with the advent of robotics and AI in human life. Uh, And then for Crimson Dolphin, those are a bit more of a hodgepodge of things, although some of them are connected to others, like Berlin, A Farewell to Humanity prequel, is a prequel to how the AI came to being and how it started.
I'm quite excited
yes.
to read all of them and sort of discover how they all sort of meld together. Yeah. Can you tell us just a little bit about your writing process?
Okay, every day, without fail, 1 to 2 hours, you write. But every day, without fail, at least 1 hour, if not 2. And you can just write as much as you want within those hours, and then once that's done, you're done. And then you need to do other things. But as long as you keep that up, you will get through quite a bit.
I'm quite impressed with people who can write every day. I definitely need my off days, but I do enjoy the consistency. So I try to have like times of day that I write instead of writing every day. But I think that'll be a good challenge for me, is to write not only at the same time, but even if it's 30 minutes, just something. Well, thank you so much for telling us about your books. I'm super excited to read them. One more time, can you tell us your name, the books, and where to find them?
Okay, so Stuart Tudor, you can find the books are Only Mice Move, Where Dreams Are Lost, Black Masquerade, and Our Broken World. You can find them basically everywhere. They are all almost all of them, with the exception of Our Broken World, are only ebook form. They all are they're all hand painted.
Oh,
that one is the original artwork.
Who painted them?
They're a local artist called Ella Arnes. She's old friend of the family. I decided to, so I went local. I discovered her, and she made all of these. The typology is done by Conrad Altman, who I encountered on the Indie Book Spotlight Discord, and he showed me the importance of good typology, because Amazon, the standard ones for Amazon are not good, and it really did disservice to my book covers. So yeah, he does all of them, and he's really able to bring them to life as covers, as opposed to art.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of amazing writers at Indie Book Spotlight. Shout out to them. I definitely want to partner with Indie Book Spotlight. Shout out Rebecca. So when you see this, let me know if you want to interview. Well, thank you so much for your time. We're going to move on to our next person, because I know that we've been here an hour and a half. So thank you so much, everyone, for sticking through it so far. Okay, so
it's my pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, who wants to go next?
I can go next. I am Sasha Mendez. I am half of the duo behind Soulbound.
Yes.
We have volumes 1 and 2 out, with volume 3 looking to be released late October, early November. My partner, Aaron, he is a longtime high school friend. We've known each other since we were 16. We're like 36 now. But he is the author side of the duo, so he handles all the writing, distribution. He deals with all the like Ingram Sparks stuff. Meanwhile, I am the artist / publicist of the team.
Lovely. Well, I'm so excited to give it a read. Can you let us know what your hero goes through throughout the stories?
She definitely goes through it. In the beginning,
as they do,
she's found adrift at sea by her other two protagonists, Ethan and Ohm, and has to discover the strength of her own soul in order to pretty much go on this life-changing journey in order to reunite with her siblings after a crime lord pretty much like destroyed her entire life.
Oh no.
It's where the horror aspects come in, as
Yes.
she is haunted by the kind of like darker thoughts, darker instincts within her own soul that manifest as a spirit that kind of taunts her.
So basically, what I'm hearing is that all of you have convinced me to start reading horror because all of these books
Yes.
sound so great.
Yes.
I'm like,
read
oh, so this
horror.
is what I've been missing out on.
Yes. Yeah, you can definitely handle it. My partner, they can't really handle horror, but they read
Mhm.
through both of the novels and survived just fine.
Oh, perfect. So I'm wondering, what was the process like for like balancing the storytelling between writing and the illustrations? Like, did you work hand in hand together, or did the illustrations come after the fact?
The illustrations came after. He had been working on this story for probably a couple of years before he brought me on as just um, kind of testing the waters, seeing if this was something that he wanted to go forth and continue into actually self-publishing. So probably about maybe 2-3 years ago, he reached out to me um, to see if I would do the illustrations. So pretty much I do the cover art. There are little like charcoal like chapter images before each
Mm-hmm.
chapter that I do. Pretty much any artwork or graphics involved in Soulbound or any of our socials or marketing is done by me.
So I'm assuming you do a lot of like the marketing materials when it comes to like the graphics and things like that as well.
Yes.
Well, we'll have to get in touch because I need some help.
But going back to your question, Aaron pretty much wrote out the entire story, but as I was drawing some of the characters, kind of breathing life into them, he definitely made a couple of tweaks and decisions about some of the characters. He included a kind of bonus chapter about 3 supporting characters because he wanted to write a little bit more about them after seeing the artwork that I had done of them.
Oh, wow. How cool is that? That you sort of breathed a character to, like, more so to life. And then they were inspired from you being inspired by them. It's just like a cycle of
Yeah,
inspiration.
it's definitely a cycle for us because since knowing each other for so long, having worked on additional projects in the past, we he doesn't really have to tell me as much detail as like you may have to tell another artist that you're working with, just because
Hmm.
I can pick up what he's putting down.
Yeah, for sure. Where do
Yeah.
you find your artistic inspiration?
I was just gonna go into
Oh,
that.
perfect. Go right ahead.
um, we draw both of our inspirations from the anime and manga that we read and watched when we were younger. So like Naruto, Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Mm.
Sailor Moon, are some prime inspirations. My artwork definitely takes lots of inspirations from the 90s anime Sailor Moon. Um, Actually, one of our first projects we did together way back in high school was a like Naruto fan comic where we would just
Oh,
write silly
fun.
stories with the already established characters in the series.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I know you have to go as well. But once I read the book, I will definitely love to have both you and your author on again so that way we can chat some more.
Yeah, of course. He definitely relies on me a lot to find interviews like this because he just does not have the time.
Well, that's the whole point of why I made this. Is it's so like for me, even now that I'm like making something that like helps people market things, I feel uncomfortable with marketing. It's a weird thing, and
Especially when it's your own product.
yeah, it's a weird thing. It's easier for me to help market you guys than it is for me to market
Oh,
myself.
yeah.
But yeah, of course, it's the bigger the family, the better. The more people
Exactly.
we can get in here. You never
Exactly. I
know.
actually just posted on Blue Sky to promote T's Kickstarter.
Oh, cool. Okay. Thank you so much, and you have a great rest of your day. Okay, and for our final two. And again, thank you so much for everyone being here so far. I know we've been here a while, but I'm having a good time.
I believe I am next.
I believe you are too. How's it going?
It's going good. My name is Hunter Urshield Cupid. You can find me under the username JinxWild19 pretty much everywhere. That is my go-to. If you can't find me on a social media with that, it's probably because it's under Hunrac, which is HUNRAC. And my debut novel will, fingers crossed, be releasing sometime in December. I've yet to pick a date.
Ooh, that's
Um,
exciting.
but it is called Fabled Tower. And yeah, I'm hoping that the ability to buy a physical copy will be available in December. But I think I might release like a cheeky ebook sooner. We'll see.
We love a cheeky ebook. Well, that's so exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about the main character of your story?
Yes, the main character's name is Melissa. And of course, I'm currently blanking on her last name because,
That's okay.
of course.
Of course. It's okay.
But
We'll find out when we
she
read
is-
it.
Yeah, you'll find out when you read it. It's fine. It's fine. But her whole deal is, and this isn't getting into too many spoilers because this happens in like the first chapter,
Okay, perfect.
is that one day she essentially, in her 20s, finds out that she has the ability to do magic.
Ooh, fun.
And has to find out, does she follow this path that she's always been drawn to, which is to leave the place she was born and explore the world, or does she follow the path that her family wants? And as she continues exploring that, she finds out that it might be more.
I like that. A little bit of in between, because life isn't always as clear cut as we'd hope it to be. Can you let us know some of the themes of the story? I feel like you touched on it a little bit.
Yeah. So one of the big themes is found family.
Mm-hmm.
Self-discovery is the next one. And then just kind of in some ways, I guess, like self-care,
Ooh,
because it does
okay.
go into dealing with mental health a bit and dealing with different traumas that you've experienced and how that can affect you in ways, and how you need to start working on that to live a more fulfilled life.
Yeah, I wanted to ask the same question I asked Maria. What are some ways that you take care of your mental health on a day-to-day?
That's a very good question that many of people around me ask. But for me, it is my writing and it is also reading. Those are the two ways that like kind of help me work out what's been going on, while also feeling safe in a way to do so.
For me, at least, writing takes quite a bit of brain power. So it's cool that you guys gain your energy through that, because for me, I definitely have to set aside more than a few spoons to be able to tackle a writing session. So the fact that universally for all of us, it's a way that we can, although it's hard work sometimes, it's a way for us to gain those spoons back. So that's super cool.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there are certainly days where it's like I can't.
Yes.
I can't do the writing. But that I've discussed it with different people in my life where it's like, why can't I seem to do the whole writing every day thing?
Mm-hmm.
And I finally came to the conclusion that it's because I'm typically writing in some ways from experience. I have to first digest what happened before I can then write about it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the same way. When I was writing that fantasy book, I was saying that I sort of got lost in the timeline of it all. I feel like although I was frustrated that I took such a long break, I couldn't have written the book that I wanted to write because I needed to have more experiences and to process those things, because the things that I wanted to write about were things that I hadn't fully processed, I guess.
Yeah, I get that. If it makes you feel better, I originally started writing this book a week before my birthday in 2019, so like mid-November, and then didn't get it to a point where I felt like I had properly finished it until like last year.
Wow, that was a lot of work that you put in.
Yeah, I'm very proud of what I was able to do, because I think with some of the internal turmoil that Melissa ends up having, it is something that has been universally felt in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I can have someone go through that process with my book, and come out the other side a little bit faster than if they had to go through that on their own, I will feel like I've accomplished something.
Wow, that's so beautiful. Do you have a specific scene or moment in your book you'd like to share?
Yeah, it's part 2. Melissa is being poked and prodded at, like mentally,
Mm-hmm.
to show that she's not as okay as she thinks she is. And her emotions start to flare up, her magic starts to flare up, and there ends up being a consequence to that.
Mm-hmm.
That normally in a world of magic could just be fixed with magic. But with the way that I have my magic system work, it's only temporary. Like those consequences of her magic flaring up and not having proper control of it, because she's not as okay as she thinks she is, end up doing physical harm to herself.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about your magic system and the type of powers that she has.
For her base power set, it's mostly just like a way with plants and water.
Oh, I like that.
So she's a very nature-based power set.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning of the book, I actually mention how she can tell like what time it is based on the canopy of the trees, how far open the flowers are, and stuff like that. It's something she doesn't realize other people can't do.
Oh, see, that sort of plays into my other question. was, what can other people do?
In her in the starting world, in her hometown Gergenstein, which isn't a real world, it's not a real word that I could find. I made it up, but it sounds real. In Gergenstein, no one does magic.
Oh, so she's quite
that's
different.
what kind of leads her to leave, is no one does magic, and yet she does.
Mm-hmm.
So she has to find a mentor. She has to figure out what's going on. Like, it's a whole cacophony of different things that she needs to figure out about herself, the world around her, and her family.
So where does she go after she leaves the original place? Or is that too much? Does that give things away too much?
No, because it is mentioned in chapter 1.
Okay, good.
So it's fine, yeah. She ends up going to Philpine, which is a place with a university.
I love a good magic university.
Yeah. Of course, it is... I don't mind giving this away. It is not an active university any longer.
Oh, that just added another layer.
Yeah. You find that out in chapter 2. So again, I don't mind.
Yeah, not too much of a spoiler.
That's like chapter 2, chapter 3. You find out it's no longer an active university. So.
Okay, well, I feel like that leaves it with just enough mystery then for me to be intrigued. Or like, okay, well, what does she do now? Like, how does she learn her magic if like it's not active? So now I'm just like, my mind is reeling.
Yay!
Before we move on to our next person, one more time, can you let us know your name, your books, and where to find you?
My name is Hunter Arshield Cupid. My debut book will be called Fabled Tower. And you can find me pretty much anywhere at Jinxwild19 or at Hunrac, which is HUNRAC.
Awesome. Thank you so much. T.W. Clausen, I don't know. Oh my gosh, you're still here. Hello.
I'm still here, yeah.
You made it through breakfast, breakfast with the kids.
I put a kid down for a nap. I went to the bank and talked about my book while I was listening to other people talk about their books. It was a whole experience. This has been a great listening experience for me.
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm glad you're having a good time, and I'm glad we could be with you on your Saturday of breakfast and banks and naps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
but I have to say, I'm excited for what you're doing here. Also, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I am also excited about what I'm doing, and like I said earlier, I couldn't do it without you guys, without y'all here. So without further ado, can you let us know again your name, your books, and where to find you?
Yeah, so you can find me anywhere under the pen name T.W. Clausen. And my website, my phone just fell. My website is twclausen.com, and Clausen is spelled the cool way, Clawson.
Love it.
But yeah, so that's where people can find me. I have a Instagram, twclausen_PDX, because I have to let people know that I'm in Portland.
Can you let us know a little bit about the main character in your story?
Yeah, so there is a main character, but because this is a sitcom, I tried to make it more of a cast.
Yeah, let us know.
So you've got the main guy, Elliot. He is a cleric of the temples. Was adopted as a kid when his parents basically gave him up, and he grew up working for the royal house that oversees the temples. And he, like, I play off of a lot of tropes and cliches in fantasy, D&D specifically. And in D&D, clerics are like a warrior, godly warrior class. And Elliot is not that. He's the opposite of that. He is an accountant, essentially. He's a scribe. He is a cleric who does clerical work. That's kind of the joke there.
Love it.
And he starts out in the story not wanting to do anything adventurous or crazy scary, but he's kind of forced into it. And in the process of the first story, he ends up winning and owning a bar, a tavern called the Penny Lich, and that's pretty much where the story takes off for the rest of the book. And then you have his best friend, Moses Summerhill, who is he's a paladin who is a warrior for the temples and stuff. He comes from a royal family, and he is a bro, a jock. He is the opposite of Elliot, and they're best friends. And Moses uses the opportunity that Elliot gets in winning a bar and owning it to start his own guild for the people. So that's where a lot of the adventure comes in, is through him. You've got Cecilia and Eric, who are twins, but they were separated pretty young. Eric was chosen to go off and get a formal education in becoming a magic warrior, and Cecilia left her family to become a crime lord who got caught and is now trying to repent a little bit. Those are the four main characters, and then you have other characters that I don't even want to say they're side characters, but they start out that way and become more important as the story goes on.
Oh, that's fun. I like having a big cast of characters. Sometimes I find myself jumping from books that have like a limited cast to like very full cast because I love I just like what it adds to the story.
Yeah, absolutely. And a part of this was a huge experiment in taking the sitcom format of writing and putting it into a novel format of writing.
Yeah.
So having the cast allows me to do the A plot, B plot, and sometimes even C plot within the story.
Yeah, it's one thing I realized when I was first starting plotting for my book was having like the importance of having dynamic side characters, and it sounds like you tackled that quite well.
Yeah, I mean, you pay attention to your side characters enough, they become main characters very easily.
Exactly.
But they're really important to telling the full story of the world you're building, because you can only have so much perspective with one character.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Can you tell us about some of the themes that happen in your book?
Yeah, there's a lot of different themes. The big one that recurs with most characters is kind of coming to terms with the mistakes that you've made and allowing them to strengthen you, and allowing them to not rule you, but to grow from them. So Moses, I'll give spoilers away. It's a comedy. Nobody's reading it because the story is mysterious. Moses is a paladin who he took an oath of celibacy, but before he became a paladin, he got a girl pregnant and she died giving birth to his son. So he spends the story, you start to learn throughout the story that he has this kid, and everything he does is to try and justify essentially abandoning his child to his the child's grandparents so that he can do good for people. But then towards the end of the book, he realizes that the best thing he can do is be a good dad. Which, new dad, that kind of hits home for me.
Yeah.
And then Elliot realizes that he is stronger than he's always thought he was, and being pushed by the people around him and his new family and friends, he learns that he's not just good at numbers, he can also be someone who takes charge and leads people, especially when he breaks a really important holy relic, and the god gets so pissed off at him that she forces him to be the guardian of her little baby fire child. Like, there's mistakes that are made, and he has to grow from that.
Yeah, that's a really important theme, I think, that we've all struggled to learn sometimes, is like, how do you learn from your mistakes and how do you move forward after that?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, moving forward, I think, is one of the hardest parts. It's like, okay, like, we've accepted, we get it, but then, like, how do you keep going? Seems like you got some really solid B stories going on in there. Can you tell us a little bit more about your A story?
So Elliot, he inherits. He doesn't inherit. He wins in a duel, and gets a tavern. His best friend, he and his best friend both quit their jobs at the temple, which is a lot easier said than done. They start a guild, and their friends join the guild, and I wrote it in an episodic way. There's 12 episodes. Each episode is trying to tackle a different little adventure or quest while telling one big story, and the big story eventually comes out to there's a guy who doesn't like the way the kingdom is run, so he's going to utilize some dark magic to take it over. And this guild happens to be the only people not corrupted by this dark magic and the way that the royal houses have been messed up by the dark magic. So they have to be the ones to fight against it.
Wow. First of all, I would love to win a tavern. Where can I sign up for that?
Yeah, me too. If I could just find one where somebody's willing to make a bet like that, I would definitely lay down some money on it.
Right. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so excited to read that, not only for such an entertaining A story, but for your B stories as well, because I think those are what stick with me the longest after reading a book. So I commend you for that, because it's not easy to tackle telling a good story that actually means something.
Yeah, I think ultimately if you're honest in your story writing, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, write fun scenes and justify them with dramatic moments.
Yeah, I love that. So what was sort of your inspiration behind it? I know you said you had sort of based it off like sitcom writing. Did you have like a particular sitcom in mind?
So there's a lot of elements that kind of went into this, and I'll try to keep it short because it's a lot. I'm a huge fan of sitcoms. Like I consume them too much. My wife rolls her eyes when I restart The Office and watch it all the way through and then restart it again because I fall asleep too much. But she does the same thing with Forensic Files, so we're okay.
Yeah. We all have our vices.
Yeah. But watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine was a big one for me. I watched that show, and it's so good. It's so funny. And the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, this would be really funny in a fantasy world, too. I play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, and around the same time of watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine for the third time, I was doing a Dungeons and Dragons podcast where I was DMing with some friends, and it was fun. It was a good time. Eventually, we had to kind of call it quits because it's a lot of work to do a podcast like that, and I was becoming a dad, and so I had this story that I was eventually going to get to in the campaign and in the show that I'd never really got to do, And so I started writing this as a podcast, okay, I'll write this and then my friends can get together and read it and we can have a good time. But obviously, as you start writing, things kind of get bigger and more intricate. And at the same time as doing all that, I was doing another podcast called Between Lewis and Lovecraft, where I was diving into authors' lives, why they wrote what they wrote, who they were, why did C.S. Lewis have a spanking fetish, and H.P. Lovecraft go spend 2 weeks with a 14-year-old in Florida, things like that. And along that line, I started reading really good books and realized I was a terrible writer, and I needed to do a better job of practicing. So I would start writing short stories, and that's kind of where everything came to a head. I liked sitcoms. Sitcoms are written quickly. I had ideas for a fantasy sitcom-ish story, and I wanted to write a series of short stories to practice my writing. So I wrote these 12 stories, and I thought it would be fun to publish one every month, and that was an insane idea. So I stopped doing that. And so if you look up the Penny Lich, you'll find the different experiments in publishing that I was trying. But I've tried to take them all back and take them down so that this late summer, early autumn, I can publish them all in one book. And like I said earlier, we can sit down and start doing a table read series where that original idea can kind of come to fruition and people can buy the book and read along if they want.
I love that. You have so many great ideas. I'm so interested in D&D. I have never played, but I want to so bad because every time someone talks about it, it just sounds like so much fun, but it does seem like quite time consuming.
Yeah, don't go find my podcast if you want to get an introduction to D&D. It's a terrible show. I was awful. There's a lot of really good shows out there. Highly recommend Unbalanced Encounters if you want to find a show that does a really good job of showing people how to play D&D and is really fun.
Oh my gosh, I'll definitely have to check it out. I don't know how long you've been in the group, but I don't know who remembers. I had posted like a D&D chat or something and it absolutely exploded. And so I had to change the name to like Hobbits and Hobbies or something and just like make it more general because so many people were just like exploding the chat with D&D stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't handle this right now.
Yeah, it's a lot. People who love it, they love it. It's your entire personality.
Yeah.
At least for a couple of years. Get into it.
I know, and I'm sure I would make it mine. That's just how my brain works. Well, I'm so excited to give it a read. One more time, can you let us know your name, your book, and where to find you?
Yeah. So again, my pen name is T.W. Clausen. My real name is Tyler. I'm not keeping that hidden. And then my book is called The Penny Lich. And you can find me. My website is twclausen.com or Instagram, twclausen_PDX. But my website's the best place to go. You can sign up for a newsletter that I never update. You can see all the different projects that I've quit and decided to go in different directions with. But it is the place where I do update people the most. So, if you want to stay up to date with Penny Lich stuff, then my website's the best place to go to.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. While you have your mic on, I wanted to ask everyone one more question before we close out. Do you have an indie book that you would recommend?
Let me turn my camera on right quick. Oops.
This is for everybody. So take a moment to think.
So this is The Audacity of Flower by T.L. Combs. She's also an indie author that I found. She's one of the first indie authors I found on TikTok.
Oh, nice.
She's a really great read. It's a romance novel. It's a trilogy. So there's 2 other books, one for each sister. It's either a duology or a trilogy. I can't remember. Either way, I have book 1.
Nice.
Nice little short read. It's like Bridgerton vibes.
Ooh,
If you guys
fun.
like that. So, yeah.
I will definitely have to give her a read and invite her to the to the group.
Yes.
Do we
Yes,
have
of
any
course.
other
Really
recommendations?
A friend of mine named Brianna Fenty, she released a book this last year called The Monster and the Magpie. It is incredibly terrifying and scary. But she is one of the greatest authors I've read in the indie space. Her voice is fantastic. So I highly recommend, if you like horror, if you like thrillers, serial killer stuff, then she might be the way to go for you.
All right, what was our next recommendation?
I'll put 2 out really quick. Gloria Rodriguez wrote Soul's Journey Home, which is a poetry book, which I'm normally not a poetry person, but it was the way that she set it out. There is an arc to her journey and stuff, and that's a really beautiful book. And also Outdrawn by Deanna Gray, I think was one of the last indie books I read. And that is Black and sapphic, and it's about comic artists, and it's a good time.
I will definitely add those to the list as well, especially the poetry book, because in my poetry book, Lost in the Desert, that I'm writing, I'm also trying to create a character arc throughout the poetry, so that's been really challenging for me, so I'm definitely going to have to use that one as a reference and get them on and get to interviewing so I can have them help me write my book too.
I would recommend AC Cross's The October Music. Lots of short, bite-sized horror flash fiction of all sorts. Just something to read, get a little shot of dopamine, move on to the next. Like Pringles, but healthier.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'll add those to the list and not the Pringles to my grocery list because times are tough, but I will try to get a few books in there. Awesome. And then, Jinx, do you have a recommendation? I can't remember if you said one.
I do, but only because I watched the process get created through video.
Ooh.
And then they wrote it into a book.
How fun.
So I haven't gotten to read the book yet, but I did get to watch the story get created.
Okay.
And it is called Just Stab Me Now by Jill Barra.
I love that title. I'm sold.
It is a author. It's an interesting concept again, where it's the author is talking to the main character, and I believe some of the other characters. And there's like conflict, and you're actually getting to see that conflict between the author and the characters as they continue down the story.
That's fun. I like that. I'll definitely have to give that a read.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for everyone for being here.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.